concerns with regards to the trees on the south side of Broad Street. Thank you.
Mr. President, Mr. Boswell is correct that back in March of 2019, the administration did meet with the Government Street Collaborative to identify and try to preserve as many of the oak trees, the live oak trees, and the heritage trees along the Broad Street corridor as the Tiger Grant began. What happened as we got to the south side of Government Street, between the roundabout and Government on Broad Street, and specifically on the west side of it, is as they took the curb out and they took off the road surface, the concrete surface, they found that the root system was pretty elaborate. We went above and beyond trying to preserve the trees in that area and had a hydro excavation done, which cost the city about $30,000 to expose the root structures that were underneath the roadbed. We brought in not just our arborist, which is Peter Toller, but two other arborists to take a look at these root structures. Most of the trees were able to be saved with a little bit of reconfiguration of that area. 3 of them, unfortunately, could not be saved because the damage to the root structure would kill the trees. And so we did reach out on the 16th of June to the Government Street Collaborative, and they met on June the 17th to discuss what the findings were of the 3 certified arborists that the trees were in peril or danger of dying and would create a safety issue for us. What I do not think happened very well was the follow-up to that conversation. The trees were eventually removed last Friday, and so that is my responsibility on the lack of follow-up. But we are reaching out to Mr. Boswell to make sure that we continue to collaborate with the Government Street Collaboration on future projects as we move south on Broad Street. We do not know exactly until we take those road beds up, the sidewalks and curbs, what those root structures look like. But we'll make sure that we do stay in touch with the Government Street Collaborative so that they are aware of what the issues are as we go forward. But that's my responsibility, and be glad to make sure that we're communicating more effectively with them in the future.
Question. First question is, does the city have a plan of avoidance for, RCP, reinforced concrete pipe that run through the root structure where we can back up beyond the root structure, divert the pipe with a junction box, and go around the structure and realign themselves with the existing drainage system?
Again, every effort was made, and you know, Mr. Carroll, that by providing these 90-degree turns, you're actually going to do some impediment to the drainage system, but it wasn't the drainage that caused the issue to the structural root system. It was the road bed. Okay. There was no way to avoid the actual road bed.
So you're saying that the existing root structure was out into the center of Broad Street?
That's correct, 12 to 14 feet away from the base of the tree.
So you're saying that the roots were beyond the canopy of the tree at the time?
That's not beyond the canopy. I'm saying that the structural root system expanded out 12 to 14 feet from the base of the tree.
But they were not beyond the canopy of the tree, meaning they could have been treated and turned down.
I don't know how to explain it other than 12 to 14 feet from the base of the tree into the roadway. And so it was in the roadbed. And these are the structural root systems.
Okay, well, I think that when you say making a 90-degree turn with a RCP pipe, I'm very familiar how pipe are laid. And there is a way of avoidance that can be done to have a new piping system avoid the trees if we're prepared to do that. It simply involves a casual sloping to left or right with a junction box, with the invert inside the junction box and reconnecting, and takes a little bit of time to get there. It might be a little bit more non-cost effective, but it's possible. So, I mean, I think that in the future we might need to have some types of plans in place if we intend to save older trees. Further down Dolphin Street at the corner of Charleston and Broad, there 1, 2, 3, 4 200, 300-year oak trees. I would hate to see this happen again if we have to take the bike lanes down further down Broad Street. Also, during the Bring Back Broad Street initiative, there were, I can't tell you how many oak trees planted in that project going down Broad Street for future growth so that we could do the same thing on Broad Street that has happened over numerous years on Government Street, Houston Street, Dolphin Street with the tree canopies. You know, the intent is to protect the tree there and let it grow in size. Next question is does the city have any type of replacement rules for damaged trees? If we take out one tree, then how many trees are we responsible for replacing? Do we have that type of system in place?
You know, there is a right tree at the right place plan, yes. But then again, it has to be the right tree for the right environment that we're going to place it in. And so there is a tree replacement plan, correct. And there is a landscaping plan for Broad Street.
So I think that so that everyone knows, because I heard the question today, that if we take one tree down, especially if it's a heritage oak or a live oak, then our intent is to replace them with the character of the city with additional trees beyond what we're taking down. I hope that that is our intent. And the reason why I'm delving into this, because Friday I took the brunt of the phone calls from the community saying they ripped these trees down, and all Friday afternoon I had to answer these calls. I don't know if you got them or not, but I was unaware that the trees had been taken down either at the time. You know, and it would have been just the extended courtesy to give me a heads up so I could be prepared to answer the calls of a constituent, which I was not at the time. But I hope that we have a plan for this in the future so that if we do lose our heritage oaks, that we have a replacement plan. The other thing is I tried looking up this weekend to see if Mobile had been designated a tree city by the National Forestry Society or whoever else. And if we're a tree city, then we're obligated by those rules to replace heritage oaks and overstory trees that are taken down inadvertently on major thoroughfares. So are we a tree city?
Yes, we are. The oldest tree city in Alabama.
Okay. So at some point, then we'll replace those trees that are needed with what we need to do by law. Thank you. The city of Mobile has, you know, and it's unfortunate with the Moore YMCA. I frequent the place myself, but the city, we have, 6, 7 recreation centers, I can't even remember them all, that have everything in them except for racquetball court and fitness center with weights. To say that we don't have any other access to gyms, we do. There could be a way to partner with some of our recreation centers in order to close the gap in the use without having a YMCA right now. There's also other things that we could look at that would require somewhat of public-private partnership. But for those of us that are my age, VIA is also a facility that has a very stout workout facility there that has workout rooms, basketball courts, pickleball courts, health center, health uses. So we do have other facilities that can be used that are downtown. VIA is right on Dolphin Street. So, but as we go forward, I will kind of take a look at this and see what we can do with other facilities that we have in the downtown area that will help us close the gap on a facility of use where we can go. It's unfortunate the city of Mobile does not own the YMCA or that building. So our influence there would only be to put money into a structure or facility or a business that we currently don't own by possibly a performance contract. But I don't know where we are, how viable that is. But with relationships that I have over the years to our own public facilities, I think that using our parks and recreation and enhancing them could go a long way also if indeed the YMCA or the Moore branch does close permanently.